This is Cecil Brown in New York. I'll be back in a moment with the top news and my report from Spain.
Heart disease is the most challenging problem in public health today. You, your family, and friends are among its potential victims. More than 600,000 Americans, children and adults, die every year from diseases of the heart and blood vessels. The aim of the 1950 Heart Campaign is to raise funds needed for research, education, and community heart programs. Your contribution will aid our doctors and scientists in their ceaseless efforts to control heart disease. The Heart Campaign is a national crusade to raise funds for research, education, and community heart problems so that everyone can get the benefits of the latest methods of prevention, care, and treatment. This fight is for the protection of you and your loved ones. It's your fight, too, and you must share in it by giving so that heart disease may eventually be controlled. Send your contribution to HEART, H-E-A-R-T, HEART, care of your local post office. And now, Mr. Brown.
Here's the top news for today. The British people are swarming to the polls to cast their crucial votes. It's cool and crisp weather in Britain, and the reports are that it's a heavy turnout to decide whether the Labour Party is to remain in power or whether the Conservatives are to get in. Both parties are for the welfare state. It's worth keeping in mind that whether Labourites or Conservatives win, Britain will stay in its present socialist pattern. The Conservatives of Winston Churchill are far to the left of the Republican Party in the United States. At stake today in Britain are 622 seats in the House of Commons. The victorious party will form a new government and remain in power for 5 years. It's expected to be a nip-and-tuck race, and by late this afternoon, the trend should be visible. My own prediction is that the Labor Party will win by a small majority. Those who are demanding that there be a Big Three conference between the United States, Britain, and Russia on the atom bomb crisis can take note today of Russia's reaction. Radio Moscow said today that Winston Churchill's proposal for a new Big Three meeting was a confession of bankruptcy on the part of the Anglo-American powers. In Washington, America's top military officer goes before a worried group of congressmen today. General Omar Bradley appears before the Senate and House Atomic Energy Committee. It is investigating the state of America's civil defenses. They appear to be none too good, and General Bradley is to spell out what civilians must expect in case of an A-bomb attack. Also in Washington, John L. Lewis and the operators of the soft coal mines are continuing to bargain today over a new contract. They are reported to be less than $1 apart in agreeing on a new contract, but there's no sign of progress in bridging that gap. In the meantime, the nation now has coal for just 5 more days. 10 states report coal emergencies. Citywide brownouts are being ordered. Schools are shutting down. Factories are telling workers to stay home. Tomorrow, attorneys for the United Mine Workers are due in court to show cause why the union should not stand trial for disobeying a court order to go back to work. Both the Republicans and the Democrats have a phony position on the FEPC bill, the measure to bar discrimination in industry on racial grounds. This was demonstrated once again in a 15-hour sham battle in the House of Representatives. It ended up with the Republicans teaming up for the usual reasons with the Southern Democrats. As a result of the alliance, the administration's bill for an FEPC was defeated. What the House approved was a measure setting up an FEPC, but with no enforcement powers. This could put the bill on the books so that it can be ignored, and the game of pretense could go on. In the Balkans today, for the first time, the people of Bulgaria were told that their country and the United States have broken off relations. The Bulgarian newspapers said the fault was with the United States. The American minister to Bulgaria, Donald Heath, and his staff are checking out of Bulgaria tomorrow. My guess is that Hungary will be next. And now, I'll be back with my recorded report from Spain in just 60 seconds.
Every Sunday afternoon, Mutual puts its best foot forward with the entertainment all America loves. Among the mutual shows, which are the nation's most popular Sunday afternoon entertainment, are Juvenile Jury, where youngsters give Solomon-like answers to your family problems. There's Hopalong Cassidy with Bill Boyd as the roughest of the range riders, and Martin Kane, Private Eye, with William Gargan as your Sunday punch detective. There's the Shadow, the invincible crime buster who sees all and knows all. And there's True Detective Mysteries with actual case histories of crime and a chance for you to play detective yourself. The Roy Rogers Show with Dale Evans, Gabby Hayes, and the Riders of the Purple Sage bring you Western music and mystery. And the Falcon, that man about murder, takes you on high-flying adventure. So this Sunday, do as most Americans do. Tune to Mutual for the nation's most popular Sunday afternoon listening. And now, back to Cecil Brown.
This is Cecil Brown in Madrid. Before I came to Spain, I had certain convictions about this country. You may have shared those convictions, which I have so often expressed in my broadcasts. Some of those ideas have been changed while I've been in Spain. Some have been fortified. As one who has dreams of more of the world having a respect for human rights, I came to Spain with the hope that I would find here some evidence that the Spanish people could get rid of their tyrant, Generalissimo Franco. Now that I've been here for a time, I see no chance of the Spanish people taking effective action. Franco has his secret police, he has the support of the army, for the most part, and he has the powerful backing of the Spanish Catholic Church. Here in Spain, it becomes evident how unrealistic is the position of those who say, let the Spanish people bounce out Franco. I was among those who took that position. I find here that it was presumptuous of us to think that the Spanish people could find means to remove Franco. And yet that has been the official American policy. After all, the world got rid of Mussolini and Hitler only in the course of a long and expensive war. It is childish to think that the Spaniards could do by themselves what required the combined might of the Allied powers to do elsewhere against similar dictators. So, if it was the aim of the United States or the Western powers to get rid of fascism in Spain by withdrawing our ambassadors, or boycotting Spain from international groups, or other methods of tapping Franco on the wrist, it is evident that we've been kidding ourselves and playing a grim joke on the Spanish people. One notion I've had about Spain has not been changed by my visit here. It is that Spain is of questionable military value to us. A fascist totalitarian regime such as Spain has is as worthy of trust as a communist totalitarian regime in Yugoslavia, or it's as worthy of trust as the anti-democratic regime of blackmailers that we are helping to bound ahead in Western Germany. What's ahead for Spain? There are two parts to that question. One is, what should the United States do about Spain? And the other part is, what should Spain do about the United States? If we feel sorry for the Spanish people and want to help them avoid starving to death, then that is a reason for aiding Franco. If we want to get American business in Spain, then that is a reason for extending credits so that the Spanish can buy from us. If we are seeking military bases for whatever use they might be in the constant tension with Russia, then that is a factor worth considering. You will note that I am avoiding saying anything about what must be running through your mind at this point. You may be saying, but Franco is a fascist, and we are against fascism. If you come straight from the United States to Spain, that argument might be pertinent. But I came to Spain from Yugoslavia, and there in Tito land, we are showing that we don't much care what tyranny operates in a country, as long as that country can be used as an ally against Soviet Russia. That practice makes sense from a practical viewpoint if you don't care anything about moral and ethical principles. So it's no wonder that here in Spain, people say on all sides, if you Americans help communist Yugoslavia, why can't you help Spain? That is a catastrophic question to ask because the answer is a disaster to American principles. As a result of our policy in Yugoslavia, we have been robbed of the argument that we should not aid Franco's Spain because it is totalitarian and a tyranny. That it is. But I have just come from a country where we are entrenching a tyrant who destroys human freedoms and individual rights in just the same way that Franco has destroyed them. Another notion I had before I came to Spain has been changed. That concerns an American ambassador. From outside of Spain, before getting here, it seemed to me most important that Spain should continue to remain where she is, in the fascist doghouse, an outcast among nations. I was one of those who favored the action of the United Nations in 1946. It decided that the Spanish government, having been put in power by the Axis nations of Germany and Italy, should not be returned to the community of nations until Spain got a new government. In the meantime, we, among the other members of the United Nations, would withdraw our ambassadors. In other words, the idea was that this would dynamite Franco out of power. It has not worked. Now, as you know, Secretary of State Dean Acheson has said that if the United Nations would rescind its action, then we would be in favor of sending an ambassador to Spain once more. Here in Spain, when you see the apathy of the people toward getting rid of Franco, they fear a civil war more than they fear Franco. Returning an ambassador to Spain makes sense. We may as well admit that the half-hearted method we chose to get rid of Franco has not worked. We may as well admit that returning an ambassador to Spain will further strengthen Franco. We can't have our cake and eat it too, so we can concede this. If withdrawing an ambassador put a special emphasis on rejecting a government, then sending one back does indeed put a special emphasis on our accepting that regime. The original mistake was to put a moral emphasis on the function of sending an ambassador. We must pay for that mistake by accepting, in the case of Spain, the charge that we are putting a moral approval on Franco's regime by sending an ambassador. If fascism is the enemy of democracy, as Spain's fascism most certainly is, then that has nothing to do with our having an ambassador here in Madrid. Not any more than it has with our having an ambassador in Belgrade, bucking up the communist dictatorship of Tito. When we abandon moral principles in Yugoslavia, there is not much point in being hypocrites about Spain. We are helping to further Tito's tyranny over 16 million Yugoslavs, telling them to take it and enjoy it. From that position, it is an easy step to tell 26 million Spaniards to accept their destiny as victims of Franco's tyranny. This is Cecil Brown in Madrid. And now this is Cecil Brown in New York. Tomorrow I will have another report from Spain, ending my summaries of the conditions in Franco, Spain. That's the news and comment for today. I'll be back with you at this same time tomorrow.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. You've heard Cecil Brown in his analysis of the news of the world today. Mr. Brown is heard regularly Monday through Friday at the same time over most of these stations. This program came from New York. No matter where you live, it's now possible for you to be chosen Queen for a Day. That's right, you no longer have to be in Hollywood to be a contestant for Queen for a Day honors. Hear the details on Queen for a Day every weekday over most of these stations. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.